we have the lawyer. Oh, yeah, that's right. It's the lawyer whose high flying jujitsu skills will clap back on you just as well as the judge will throw the book at you if you're not being represented by Mr. Omar Figueroa with offices in California and New York. Best to serve you. That's right. Tell him what you got, Mr. Omar Figueroa.
Thank you, Jason. Happy Friday, everyone. My story is from NBC News by Alicia Victoria Lozano. The headline is California's small cannabis growers face extinction as taxes, bills, and snow pile up. Humboldt County, California. Booming thunderclaps cracked like gunfire through the cold night air as heavy branches snapped off ancient redwood trees and slammed to the earth 200 feet below. It sounded like a war zone, said cannabis farmer Shannon Taliaferro of the January storm, one in an unrelenting series that walloped California this winter, costing at least $500 million in damage. It was all hands on deck. Seemingly, no corner of the state's $51 billion agricultural industry was spared the winter's wrath, including the nearly 3,000 small cannabis farmers who were hit hard by the storms. It will be months before a full financial picture emerges, but outdoor cultivators are already feeling the financial squeeze as they confront an existential question. How much longer can the people who build California's cannabis industry afford to stay in it? The severe weather was the latest blow to the industry, which has grappled with high taxes, falling sales, and increasing competition from vast indoor farms. We're seeing the individual collapse of the legacy farmers, the moms and pops who have been doing this for 15 or 20 years and who have a real stake in this game, said Victor Pino, who operates a cannabis farm tour company in Northern California. It's just hit after hit after hit on these poor people. Despite living and working in the unofficial capital of cannabis, cultivators in Northern California's Humboldt, Trinity, and Mendocino counties, known as the Emerald Triangle, have struggled since recreational marijuana was legalized in 2016. Severe drought and wildfires have destroyed crops, and taxes and compliance fees have depleted profits, while a still thriving black market continues to drive prices down. Now, historic snow and cold have dealt another setback. No one was prepared for storms of this magnitude, said Michael Katz, executive director of the Mendocino Cannabis Alliance. I don't want to be dramatic, but the survival of the legacy small craft businesses in California is at stake. For Taliaferro, who owns 7 farms in Humboldt County, the fury of wind and rain ripped the yurt on his property from its foundation, destroyed 3 water tanks, and leveled 4 greenhouses. One tank was found weeks later, a half-mile down the mountain. Taliaferro estimates the winter storms cost him at least $50,000 in damage, not including delays in planting because of persistently cold weather that has lingered into spring. Because cannabis remains illegal under federal law, he cannot apply for federal assistance to recoup losses or help rebuild his infrastructure. Friends who haven't diversified their incomes are close to losing their homes or moving back in with their parents, he said. People who were here for a quick buck are going elsewhere. Despite California's position as the nation's largest recreational cannabis market, its annual sales slumped last year for the first time since sales began in 2018. Annual legal sales reached 5.3 billion in 2022, down 8% from 5.77 billion the year before, according to the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration. The downturn follows a 2021 bear run that drove wholesale prices as low as $300 a pound compared to a high of $3,000 in some years, hurting small seasonal operators unable to compete with year-round indoor cultivators. Only after industry insiders complained of a collapsing market and officials realized cannabis wasn't the green rush once envisioned did California begin to ease regulations and reduce state and local taxes. But as the market began to stabilize in 2022 and new obstacles surfaced by the end of the year, Historic storms that hit outdoor farmers in the Emerald Triangle hard. The three counties found themselves on the defensive against another blow to California's troubled cannabis market. There are lots of nails in that coffin, said Brandy Moulton, a former Mendocino cannabis farmer who was forced to close her grow operation in 2022 after paying about $60,000 in a quarter in taxes for 3 years. Across the Emerald Triangle, farmers said they have stopped paying their taxes because they can't afford it, and some growers are considering going underground into the black market where they can set their own prices and avoid the levies. Last year, California overhauled its cannabis tax structure and eliminated at least one cultivation tax on growers. It also moved the 15% excise tax from distributors to retailers. But that's of little help to Taliaferro, who said he uses nearly half of his income to pay for permits and taxes. Nicole Elliott, director of the California Department of Cannabis Control, said there's still a lot of work to do. We acknowledge that. Some 15 minutes away in Mendocino County, Nikki Lestredo and her husband, Swami Chaitanya, sit side by side on their living room couch, surveying dozens of small containers filled with cannabis samples for this year's Emerald Cup, known as the Academy Awards of Cannabis within industry circles. Lestredo and Chaitanya were snowed in for 4 weeks when a bitter storm blanketed the bumpy 2-mile road that leads to a large meadow where their 190-acre homestead houses their eponymous brand, Swami Select. Chaitanya picks up a nugget and closely inspects it with a magnifying glass. He pinches and squeezes the sample, sniffing it for quality. "Look how dry this one is," he said, handing the unimpressive nugget to his wife. Lestredo jots down a note, and the couple moves on to the next sample. It's just the third year indoor cannabis entries are allowed in the Emerald Cup, and already they comprise the majority of contestants, Lestredo said. Despite its popularity among consumers and retailers, Lestredo and Chaitanya both prefer organically grown marijuana exposed to natural sunlight rather than the artificial lamps of indoor operations. Nutrients from the sun contribute to better terpenes. Outdoor is still the gold standard, Lestredo said. Still, indoor cannabis has quickly overtaken outdoor marijuana in the legal market. Farmers are able to cultivate year-round and can better control the conditions for each plant. As a result, indoor cannabis has flooded the marketplace, making it difficult for small outdoor operations like Swami Select to compete. This year, the weather further dampened operations. Like many outdoor farmers, Swami Select pushed back its planting season to late April when it would typically start earlier in the month. The delay means not having fresh product on the market, which means no income. "Everyone thinks we have millions of dollars buried in the woods," Chaitanya said, adding that the couple is taking on credit card debt. "We're barely breaking even." When asked why he remains in the industry, Chaitanya chuckles. "We don't do it for profit," he said. "It's a lifestyle." The headline is, California's small cannabis growers face extinction as taxes, bills, and snow pile up. This is Omar Figueroa, lawyer, publisher, and Ganjier instructor, reporting from Sonoma County, California, the traditional territory of the Pomo, Miwok, and Wapo nations, for High at 9, high noon Eastern.
There we go. That's the outro we like right there, Omar.
Yeah,
That's right.
it's
Yeah,
sad. These
Wapo Nation.